Okay, guys. This morning we are on to Chapter 4, Variable Expressions. I had a scare this morning. I thought I'd ran out of time to be doing these. I just had to delete some of my old videos. Probably got a lot of old videos I need to delete. So, today our objectives are to evaluate a variable expression. To simplify a variable expression using the properties of addition. To simplify a variable expression using the properties of multiplication. To simplify a variable expression using the distributive property. And to simplify a variable expressions. That's all this chapter. Let's go over 4.3. It doesn't look like we have as much this time. To translate a verbal expression into a variable expression given the variable. To translate a variable expression into a variable expression and then simplify. To translate application problems. Okay, we're going to focus. Are you making attending class a priority? Well, we're not really attending class, but make this a priority. Okay, this is our prep test. Are you ready to succeed in this chapter? Take a prep test below to find out if you are ready to learn. I would pause the video right here, do all this. I'm going to help you out with this first one. So we are doing negative 12 minus negative 15. So when we do a minus and negative, remember we make this into a plus and this into a plus, which it's kind of difficult right now because I forgot my pen, my stylus pen at home. It's the end of the school year, so we're not working as so I've already taken all my stuff in class home, so let's do the best we can. So we have negative 12 plus a positive 15, and at this point we just take the larger, because when we're doing two opposites, or two different signs, we take the larger sign and we minus the smaller sign. So it ends up being 15 minus 12, which should be 3. I'll be right back. I'm going to go. Where did I put those? Went over and grabbed a couple of calculators. Hopefully one of them works. Okay. So we go clear. Let's just to make sure, negative 12 minus negative 15 equals positive 3, like we had. So that's a negative minus a negative. You guys can do all the rest of these. Check yourselves with a calculator. Remember, when you're dividing the same by the same, same sign by the same sign, it's a negative. Remember, on number 7, it says evaluate 2/3 to the third power. That's 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. But all you have to do is put 2 fraction button 3, the caret button right here, the up arrow, and then you would put 3. So, all right, we are ready to go on to 4.1, evaluating variable expressions. So, let's grab me, put me up there. Okay, you guys can pause this and read this all yourself if you want. I will go over this with you. Often we discuss a quantity without knowing its exact value. For example, the price of gold next month, the cost of gold next month, the cost of new automobiles next year, the tuition costs of next semester. Recall that a letter of the alphabet called a variable is used to stand for a quantity that is unknown or can change or vary. The expression that that contains one or more variables is called a variable expression. A variable expression is shown at the right. The expression can be rewritten by writing subtraction as the addition of the opposite. So what we have is we have 5y plus 2x minus x minus 7. Hopefully it gets a little bit simpler as we go on. So we have 3x squared plus negative 5y plus 2xy plus a negative x plus a negative 7. They just wrote all the minuses out to be pluses. So, note that the expression has 5 addends. The tens of a variable expression are the addends of the expression. The expression has 5 terms. So it's got 5 different terms here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with that one. Okay, the term 3x squared minus 5y, 2xy, and negative x are variable terms. The term negative 7 is constant term or simplified constant. Each variable term is composed of a numerical coefficient and variable. That means there's a number and then there is the variable. Numerical coefficients are the numbers, and then they have the variables. That just tells you how many of the variables you have. So when the numerical coefficient is 1 or negative 1, the 1 is usually not written. So you're going to have x on its own. You don't need 1x. And yes, guys, I was in high school before I learned a lot of this. So you guys are on the right track. Okay. Variable expressions can be used to model scientific phenomena. In a physics lab, a student may discover that a weight of 1 pound will stretch a spring half an inch. the pound will stretch the spring 1 inch. By experimenting, the student can discover that the distance the spring will stretch is found by multiplying the weight by half. By letting W represent the weight attached to the spring, the student can represent the distance the spring stretches by the variable expression half times W. Okay, so I'm actually going to move on a little bit more here. Let's get down here to some of the examples. You guys can pause this and read this all if you want. Replacing each variable by its value and simplifying the resulting numerical expression is called evaluating a variable expression. Evaluate AB minus B squared when A equals 2 and B equals -3. Okay, so what they are saying here is that A equals 2, so we're going to, instead of writing an A right there, we're going to put a 2 down here. So the 2 goes right here. 2 times, and those parentheses means times. Okay, so you're timesing it by the B, and B is equal to -3. So we're going 2 times -3, which should be -6. But then you're doing minus, and they got the -6 right there. Then they're doing it at minus a -3 squared. Well, -3 squared is taking -3 times -3, which is +9. But you've still got this minus sign in there, so you're still minusing. The -3 times -3 ends up being a +9, but because of this negative sign right there, or the minus sign, it's still minusing. So you're taking -6 minus 9, which should be -15. And you can put all of this into your calculator. 2 times -3 minus -3 squared, and your calculator will figure it all out for you. Okay, I'm going to do this first example with you, and then I'm going to have you guys pause it and do some of the rest, because I don't want to spend forever on this. I got stuff I need to do too. Name the variable term of expression. So we're taking 2a squared minus 5a plus 7. So we're doing 2a squared and minus 5a. So it says name the variable terms. Okay, so it doesn't really want you to do any of the math. It's just asking you to name the variable terms. Remember, the 7 is a constant. That is what they called it up here, right? The term -7 is a constant term, minus 7. So when we're adding or subtracting, the reason we don't include that as a variable, because there is no variable with it. It's a constant. It's just the number. So you can figure that one out on your own. Name the constant term of 6. Oh, name the constant term. So it's only going to want the minus 4. Okay, it is much easier to write with a pen than my finger. Evaluate x squared minus 3xy when x is 3 and y is -4. Okay, so we'll just plug in 3 squared, which should be 9. So we have a 9 right there for 3 squared. Then we take 3 times x times y. So that's 3 times 3, which would be 9, times -4, which should be negative 36. Then we take our last, actually that should be our last term. So in fact, we're taking positive 9, which we've already figured out, and this negative 36 becomes a plus when we are minusing a negative. So it ends up becoming 9 plus 36, which is 45. I want you guys to work on this on your own. Pause it and work on it. Follow the steps that it shows. Okay, we're going to move on a little bit now. Oh wow, concept check. We're at the end of section 4.1. So, pause it and do these. You're not necessarily solving the answer unless it tells you what the variable is, because these are not equations. They do not have an equal sign. They're expressions. I think that's what the chapter said, was variable expressions. I should have been paying more attention. So now you guys can pause it. That way you don't have to listen to me talk. Okay. Let's go pause it and do the math. Pause it and do the math. Maybe I'll help you out here a little bit. Let's go. Actually, is there? Yeah, they tell you what the variable expressions are. So you can look at the variable again. Write down what each variable is equal to. A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to -4. Have all those written down so that you guys can do all of these at the bottom. Go ahead and pause this and do all of them that I was scrolling around and probably making it tougher for you. Okay. Now we're going on. So for exercise 33 to 50, evaluate the variable expressions when A equals -2, B equals 4, and C equals -1. So just do them all. Okay, so you take B plus C divided by D. Your calculator should give you all the correct answers. Moving on. Okay. So we're moving on. Pause it if you haven't paused it. All right. Pause it and figure these out. If you need help reading, then get somebody to help you read. I'll read. For each of the following, determine the first natural number x greater than 2, for which the second expression is larger than the first. On the basis of your answer, make a conjecture that appears to be true about the expression x to the power of n and n to the power of x. when n equals 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So, plug those in. Okay, we're moving on now. So, simplifying variable expressions. We're on to section 4.2. I will do another video here shortly.